The future of animal agriculture in Nebraska heats up with a debate in the legislature over local control. Ahead, more on where that controversial issue stands now. Plus, we talk renewable fuels made from corn and beans, and visit with Senator Deb Fisher. Plus, learn about the diversity of Nebraska agriculture with a trip to a farm that produces eggs. Get ready to grow. It's been a history-making week for livestock policy in the Nebraska legislature, taking up the better part of debate this week. Here's more.
I'm a strong supporter of the livestock industry and want to see it grow and expand here in Nebraska without a doubt.
As a rancher, veterinarian, and state senator, John Keene says more dairies, more hogs is more business. But his position on a livestock bill may come as a surprise.
I certainly have significant concerns. As written, I do oppose LB 106.
At the bill's core is what they call a matrix, a scoring system for counties to factor pros and cons of livestock.
They need good data to make decisions off of. They don't want to have to make judgment calls that maybe would pit a neighbor against a neighbor. And I think the matrix will really help that.
Farmers say the patchwork of local zoning rules currently holds the state back. They argue this creates more certainty.
You would hope that the word on the street is we like livestock in Nebraska. It's a good economic driver, it's good for our citizens, it provides jobs.
There are proposals that would allow farmers to appeal if they're denied. One senator said the first draft would give veto power to the state. The bill backed by Farm Bureau has been amended and would take issues to mediation.
Is there some way that both the county and the producer can come together and resolve a conflict?
Many senators say they are pro-livestock, but they're struggling to find a balance between agriculture and local control.
I support the idea of a matrix, and I encourage the counties and the livestock producer groups to develop that tool, but on a county-by-county basis, not a one-size-fits-all basis for the entire state.
Meanwhile, an unlikely alliance threatened to kill a compromise over those proposed new livestock standards. Senator Ernie Chambers said he would do everything he could to stop the bill that would create statewide standards for livestock producers. His position found allies in farmers and ranchers who say the bill would take away local say on where to put feed yards and hog farms. In the end, a compromise bill did get first-round approval, making that scoring matrix voluntary rather than mandatory. Ethanol is a huge part of our economy here in central Nebraska, but officials say there are ways we can continue to help that industry grow. CAPA leaders say in the past 5 years of the nearly 12 years of the Minden-based company, they've expanded farmer-owned ethanol plants to Ohio, Minnesota, and North Dakota. But in addition to domestic growth, they're also looking to boost the industry on a global level as well.
The global demand for our product has been strong. This year we anticipate to export as an industry 850 million gallons of ethanol. And on top of that, if you look at in 2014, the industry set a record for the amount of distillers' dried grains that were exported. And so we continue to see demand not only domestically, but internationally as well.
Woodside adds ethanol continues to be the cheapest form of octane available and looks to see that continue to expand with the increase of high-octane engines. And the Father's Day storm of 2014 destroyed 2 grain bins near Minden, and to make matters worse, it was just in time for their busy season. The CEO of Kappa Ethanol says it was a big challenge, the biggest yet for the company, but now it's getting those grain bins rebuilt.
It was a substantial loss. It made harvest substantially more difficult this last year, but we adapted to it, and the staff worked hard at making sure that we continued to meet our customers' expectations. We had a lot of corn piled on the ground. At one time, we had over 4 million bushels piled on the ground.
The new bins will be bigger than the ones they had before, each holding 700,000 bushels of corn. Not everyone wants more ethanol, including boat owners who say no more corn in their gas. The Boat Owners Association of the United States has come out against the renewable fuel standard. They say ethanol fuels are often the cheapest and could create potential risk for boaters to use the wrong fuel, so they want to cap ethanol at no more than 10% blends. Meanwhile, another renewable fuel creates more demand, they say, for soybeans. Grain markets are uncertain right now, but leaders at the Nebraska Soybean Board say biodiesel is helping the financial outlook. Biodiesel production has been growing steadily. Studies show Nebraska soybean farmers receive an extra 74 cents a bushel because of the demand created by biodiesel. It also means more soybean meal used for livestock feed. However, there's uncertainty about the renewable fuel standard, and overall biodiesel use has dropped slightly. Farmers are expected to plant a record number of soybean acres, but less corn. The first report of the new crop season says farmers will plant 84.6 million acres of soybeans, up 1% from last year's record. Corn may fall 2% from last year, the third year of declines. Corn profit potential remains low because of slumping prices. After more than a year of construction, a Nebraska grain elevator is complete, ready to send Nebraska-grown crops around the country, even around the world. NTV's Megan Johnson has our story.
Aurora Cooperative's president says there just wasn't anything in the Superior area that could keep up with the speed at which farmers need to unload their harvest and get it on the market. But now he says they can meet those demands. Upstairs and through loading stations, people are exploring Superior East, Aurora Cooperative's new grain terminal.
Everything's interlocked.
The multi-million-dollar elevator can hold more than 1 million bushels of corn, soybeans, wheat, or sorghum, and company leaders say they'll unload trucks and put those crops on trains there faster than ever.
Twofold opportunities. One is to load trains on the Burlington Northern Railroad to haul to anywhere across the United States and hit the ports, usually on the West Coast.
Aurora Cooperative's president says the other is an in-progress fertilizer terminal at the same location just outside of Superior, and community officials are excited for the impact the investment will have.
Superior's always been kind of a trade center, and so now we're even more of a trade center for grain.
Aurora Cooperative will run the elevator, but they partnered with CHS, the largest farmer-owned co-op in the country, to build it, taking part in a CHS program that allowed Aurora to use their equity in that company as leverage for capital to get the project going.
We saw great potential, and certainly through the eyes of the Aurora Cooperative, we see an opportunity for a cooperative presence in a community that did not have one, and a world-class operation that would not only sustain for this generation of producers, but many generations to come.
And even with weaker prices and expected shifts in what Nebraska farmers will plant this growing season, officials are optimistic.
We're bullish. We think we've got a great crop that is going to be planted, and we're going to get a big crop harvested this fall. That's the reason for facilities like this to move it to ports of call.
Aurora Cooperative officials say size-wise, the Superior facility is in comparison with what they already have, and they have grain terminals in Grand Island, Aurora, and Sedan.
Up next, Senator Deb Fischer joins us to talk about the Waters of the United States rule and why she says it's a concern beyond agriculture.